Thank you all for attending, and welcome to State of the City 2019 here at Maricopa Field at City Hall. So my name is Adam Wolf. I'm the Public Information Officer for the City of Maricopa, but I also serve as your in-game host for the evening. We have a great event planned for you, and we hope you enjoy it as much as we enjoyed putting it together. It really has been a good time. Of course, none of this would be possible without our sponsors. So please stand for recognition if you are here and a sponsor. On the left side over here in our gold sponsor suite, we do have, of course, our gold sponsors, which are Eldorado Holdings, Commercial Properties Incorporated, Global Water, Desert Tiger Martial Arts, Good Therapy, and Kuline Plumbing. Our silver sponsors include Emerson Enterprises, Ultrastar Multitainment Center, Maricopa Ace Hardware, Southwest Gas Corporation, Fitzgibbons Law Office, and Apex Motor Club. And lastly, we have our bronze sponsors, which include Rox Media Group, Great Western Bank, Maricopa Economic Development Alliance, who also helped put on this event, so can we get a round of applause for them, please? Empire Title Agency, Dignity Health, Electoral District Number 3, Orbital Communications, McLaughlin Air, Heritage Academy Maricopa, and Cactus Mountain Properties. I'd also like to recognize our dignitaries and council in attendance. So we'll start with our city council. We have Vice Mayor Henry Wade. Councilmember Marvin Brown. Councilmember Nancy Smith. Councilwoman Julia Gussie. Councilmember Vincent Manfredi. Councilmember Rich Vidiello. And City Manager Rick Horst. We also have some state representatives and other municipal representatives here. State Senator Vince Leach. Constable Glenn Morrison. Pinal County Supervisor Anthony Smith. Maricopa Unified School District Governing Board Member Patty Coutre. MUSD Superintendent Dr. Tracy Loatman. Vice Mayor of Queen Creek, Robin Benning. Vice Mayor of Eloy, Micah Powell. Eloy Council Member Andrew Rodriguez. Gilbert City Council Member, or Town Council Member, sorry, Jared Taylor. And Dan Miller from the Central Arizona College Governing Board. Thank you all for attending tonight. As you can see, our team went through a lot of effort to make sure this field was game ready. But you can't start a baseball game without a couple teams and a national anthem. So please welcome players from the Maricopa Giants baseball team and the Maricopa Sandlots softball team, as well as our national anthem performer, Giselle Diaz. Out those front doors. Bet you didn't think you were going to see a flyover in this field, did you? All right, with that, it's time to bring our pregame ceremony to a close and play ball. It's a big game for us tonight, and there's only one player we trust to take the mound. So please welcome our go-to pitcher, the big right-hander, Mayor Christian Price.
Thank you very much. You may be seated. So, you having fun yet? Yeah. Good. We got bleachers in here for you. We got all kinds of stuff going on tonight. So we're going to have a good time. We're glad you're here, and we're going to have some fun. So, there's just something magical about going to a baseball game. The smell of the fresh-cut grass, the grittiness of the dirt, the cool breeze on your face, hearing the crack of a wood bat, the smell of that well-worked glove leather. And let's not forget the temptations of the outrageously unhealthy but terribly tantalizing concession stands. Did you find some of those out there? We built them just for you. I even heard the prices were pretty good. There was no price gouging here tonight, okay? So, it's the experience of the whole environment. Of course, the energy that comes with being around so many cheering people. So tonight I say, welcome to the city of Maricopa's first ever baseball stadium. Well, it's the first one in our council chambers anyway. So to those of you in the cheap seats, well, they're all cheap because none of you paid to get in here. To those of you in the cheap seats, I hope you brought your stadium cushions because we're going to have a good time. Every year as I prepare the annual State of the City address, the staff and I brainstorm themes and the things we'd like to do to showcase all of the many accomplishments our city has done on your behalf. In the process, it never fails to amaze me that as we do this, how many little things remind me that we've made the right choice. You see, this year I couldn't stop thinking about the many dreams that this city has helped bring to fruition in so many people's lives, and how the very existence of this city and its growing prosperity are because of the dreams of its residents. For example, businesses that want to open and thrive here, people who are happy to read and see the progress that we're making with all of the new improved transportation infrastructure, new neighborhoods, new eateries, new retail establishments. I also saw a few posts out there in Facebook and Instagram world with some very colorful descriptive words of things they didn't like. Yes, I see all of those too. But as I stopped to ponder all this, a phrase from a movie I saw a long time ago kept ringing in my ears. And it said something like this. It said that sometimes when you believe the impossible, the incredible comes true. Now, of course, that doesn't mean that there aren't challenges and growing pains along the way. Without hardship and trial experienced first, very little in this life is ever truly accomplished. You see, our hardships today in this modern world, really more than anything, they're just inconveniences, and they're hardships of patience. We are very blessed to have such expansive conveniences in our daily lives, such as hot and cold running water, plentiful food, incredibly fast transportation, an entire world of technology and information and telecommunications right at our fingertips. Adding to these modern conveniences, in today's Maricopa, there is so much more happening. Literally each and every week that it actually made it really hard to write this speech. You see, each passing week that went by, the city had new updates. We had new extensive progress to report. So I had to keep rewriting it just to get it all in. But even with my rewrites, I know they'll probably still leave things out. And for that, I apologize. But without further ado, welcome to our very first inning, and let's play some ball. So as you've seen over the past year, construction has been on a tear, and the interest of private business is reaching a fevered pitch. So let's welcome and revisit just a few of the new businesses that have come to our fair city in this past year. Let's watch. As you can see, we've been busy this year, haven't we? And things like Maricopa's first new cardiologist office, a full-service salon and spa, comic book store, Burger King, Dutch Brothers, Apex, Wendy's, The Box, and so many more. And we're only getting started. So how did we get here? How did we get here welcoming all these locations that people like to patronize? Your city council and your new city manager have been laser focused this year on finding efficiencies in our city government. Efficiencies that in part can help businesses achieve the speed to market they're looking for once they are finally ready to work towards getting their permits and opening their doors. So we're going to talk tonight about some of these efficiencies and what they mean. For example, this past year we've been streamlining our development services process so that it's easier to pull new buildings and businesses out of the ground in Maricopa. We've also updated our development codes. We've been working hard on improving customer satisfaction, much like a business would. And we've actively been working with customers to find new and creative solutions to problems that get them to market faster, but without compromising the public safety. Some of our other efficiencies, fines, and things that help people and businesses alike this past year have been, for the 5th year in a row, there was no increase to our primary property tax rate. Yes. And that's not all. We have an overall goal to increase the revenue base so that taxes are coming in from usage, such as sales taxes and other sources, so that we can actually reduce the property tax in the coming years. That's its goal. The city's fiscal 19-20 year budget is $900,000 less than last year's. $900,000. This is saying a lot, especially when you're a new city with lots of needs, 54,000 people, and have a comparatively small budget to other similarly sized cities. So let me tell you about what we did with that savings. For the first time in this city's history, we took this money and established an asset replacement fund for things like police cars, fire trucks, and other heavily used and desperately needed equipment in this city. It also sets aside money in support of a self-insured losses program and also an important emergency disaster contingency reserves fund that we have never had before. This is critical in being a well-prepared city. We also have increased our funding for street maintenance this year, and we have increased it by more than $2 million. Through this prudent utilization of state-authorized revenues and revenue streams such as development impact fees, highway user revenue funds, and county road tax funding. This is where that money is coming from, and this is how we'll be putting it to use, and we'll explain some of that here shortly. By law, each of these funding allocations have very specific ways in which they can be used, but we also want to use them wisely, where they are going to have the biggest impact in our city. So get ready, Maricopa. We are going to be seeing a lot of road projects in this coming year, and we will talk about some of them tonight. Another way we put our efficiency savings to wise use for this budget year is by investing in something most people know very little about, something called the PSPRS, or the Public Safety Retirement System. You see, the state of Arizona and our state cities and towns have made long-standing retirement pension commitments to our public safety personnel. However, there are many cities and many town officials that find themselves in very difficult financial predicaments where their debt obligations and therefore their liabilities to these promised pension plans have reached an almost insurmountable crisis. While it's true that we are a newer city, and as such, we don't have the years and decades of non-funding that so many cities have, we also know that many leaders and staff have struggled during recent recessions and tight budgets and have had to defer or delay these important payments to the pensions trust funds. They claim that someday in the future when things are better and we'll get around to funding it again, right? The city of Maricopa, on the other hand, has made funding obligations a top priority. So starting with this budget year and over the next 2 years, we will completely pay off our unfunded liability or debt obligations for the Maricopa Police Department and honor our commitments to those who serve us. To those of you that don't know, that is a really big deal. And it is a big deal for a lot of reasons because at the end of the day, there are cities all over this state that are struggling with this. And they're years in arrears. And it's millions and millions of dollars. So we're very happy to be caught up and on our path to that. So as we honor obligations, we've also found a way to play. As recently as late August of this year, 6 new professional pickleball courts have been constructed and opened at Copper Sky Regional Park by using a fund called a Development Impact Fee. According to state law, DIF, or Development Impact Fees, those monies can only be used for the purposes by which they were collected, in this case, for parks. So these one-time fees that developers pay as they construct new buildings and infrastructure help provide desired amenities to our growing population and provide a quality of life that the community demands. By using these targeted specialty funds sources carefully, we can build and fulfill your wishes without raising taxes or spending more money out of the city's general fund, or in layman's terms, the city's checking account, i.e., your checking account. This year, Maricopa is proud to offer something creative, the very first of its kind, the very first in Arizona, or even across the nation for that matter, the very first municipal esports league. These gaming leagues offered at Copper Sky in our brand new state-of-the-art esports room. Now I know what some of you parents are thinking out there. I know, I can hear it. You're thinking, what the heck are you guys doing? Why are you doing this? I want my kids out of the house, not playing video games, and out of my basement, right? I know that's what you're thinking. Well, as a parent myself, I fully understand. And in response to that thought, I want to share something with you. In a recent interview with KJZZ, our Director of Community Services has perhaps the most heartfelt, the most nurturing, the most intensely loving answer on what to think regarding your kids' gaming habits, and it goes something like this. I think the selling point to parents is, your kid is not a loser because they're playing video games. Here he is, right here. We love Nathan. He's doing a great job. That was on JZZ. We had to put it in the stage, okay? Thank you for that incredible insight, Nathan. All right, all joking aside, we hear you, moms and dads, and that is exactly what we're doing. So listen up. You see, the reality is that if they leave the house, even for a few hours, our kids, they're gonna find a way to play their video games. It's just a fact of life. And so as such, we are saying to you, let us help them and you by channeling that energy to play in a new, socially adaptive and creative way. Let me explain. These highly skilled yet technologically enthused kids are so often the outcome of their gaming surroundings. Typically, they're solitary, sedentary, unhealthy, and sometimes even pretty foul-mouthed. Shh, don't tell anybody, okay? But what we are accomplishing by providing Maricopa esports leagues and tournaments is we are getting kids out of mom and dad's house and or their basement and bringing them together to learn badly needed social skills, interpersonal relationships, and teamwork applications. And if that wasn't enough, get this. We are even incorporating a first-of-its-kind health and wellness program that is specific to our gamers and their parents. Do you get it? Fork night instead of Fortnite? If you're a gamer, you'll know what I'm talking about. So, the very things that previously divided so many parents from their children, we are now finding ways to encourage both to communicate better and work collectively to achieve a happier, healthier lifestyle that brings them closer together. Even in the program's infancy, the overwhelming response has been phenomenal. With our revenue-generating leagues, we already have waiting lists. Our gamers, young and old alike, these gamers are traveling from as far as Yuma, Tucson, North Phoenix, Mesa, Tempe, Gilbert, and especially Maricopa. They all are traveling here to take part in this trend-setting esports program. Nationally speaking, others are taking notice, and we've had no less than 6 other cities from states like Washington, California, and New Mexico. They have come and they want to know what we're doing and how we're doing it. Indeed, another program brought to you by the trend-setting Maricopa. Bet you never thought you'd hear that today, but it's true, and there you have it. Okay? Now, we've been busy. We've also rolled out a new city website that incorporates many of the changes we've been making in the past few years. And to accompany our other social media presences, it's now more vibrant, more user-friendly, and more efficient. and even more effective. But it can also be updated faster than ever before. And the biggest upgrade, in my opinion, is that it's finally mobile friendly. So I know you know, if you've been on that website with your phone, you know what I'm talking about. But it is a big deal. This year, we also saw the grand opening of the long-awaited Turbo Boost to our reputation, a project that had been working closely with the city to come out of the ground, the grand opening of the Apex Motorsports Club.
Look out. You know, many times in the past few years, I've repeatedly told you that economic development is not easy. And in fact, it's even harder when an anti-competitive lawsuit rages against your fledgling business before it's even out of the ground. But the perseverance that Apex demonstrated paid off. And after not giving up and exhibiting lots of that famous Maricopa grit, they managed to win their lawsuit and move forward to construction of Phase 1, the competitive racetrack you just saw. Next comes the construction of Phase 2, with car condos, meeting rooms, a clubhouse, restaurants, and other amenities important to the business venture. We wish them well in their next round of endeavors and certainly appreciate them being good neighbors, excellent donors to our nonprofits, and overall, great new community members. We officially welcome you here. Thank you for being here. So speaking of cars, did you really think we were going to get through a State of the City speech of mine without hearing about the 347 overpass? Well, if you were waiting for that, you should attend next year, okay? We're going to talk a lot about this tonight and what a pivotal role this roadway has played. However, I'd like to officially announce that after 16 years of dogged determination and plain old Maricopa grit, and frankly just outlasting all those who wanted to tell us no until they basically finally gave us what we wanted, okay, we are going to finally see something that we've been waiting for. Today I announce that the 347 Railroad Overpass project will be officially completed this week. Now, how's that for coordination? You'd think we planned that or something, right? Okay. Let's take a look. To Maricopa. You're building a roadway of this size or this structure, it takes a lot of people. And I really want to stop and thank everybody, both past councils, current council. I want to thank our staff. I want to thank the Federal Highway Administration, ADOT, Pinal County. I can't even tell you the partnerships and the folks that you have to work with, the thousands upon thousands upon thousands of hours that it took to make this sucker a reality. Great transportation corridors are the key to great economic development. It is what rises and raises our quality of life, and it's what makes things great. So today, I say to you, Maricopa, congratulations. We are getting an overpass, and this will be transformational. Today, Maricopa is reborn. Thank you. Congratulations. So, congratulations. You've made it to the bottom of the first of 4 innings. If you build it, they will come. That was a little strange.
Well, that was a great first inning. Maricopa certainly accomplished a lot over the last year. But now we're going to see what our local coaches can accomplish in a Minute to Win It challenge. Let's go ahead and meet our contestants.
Mike Odell, Maricopa Sandlot.
Chad Hansen, Maricopa Giants.
All right, so we got baseball versus softball. We're going to see how it goes. So, rules of the game. Ellen is going to place an Oreo on your forehead. Probably going to want to remove your hat. You have 1 minute to get as many Oreos in your mouth as possible without using anything but your face muscles. Questions? All righty. You ready? Ready? No. Yeah. Ellen's got it. Here we go. Ready, set, go. There's one. He's got one. There's another tied. Make some noise if you want a plush toy. Come on. Get excited. Throw to the left side of the room, too. There we go. That's game. That's game. How many Oreos do you have left? 2. Do we have a tie? We have ourselves a tie, but unfortunately, we're out of time. Great job, guys. Thanks for participating. Everyone, enjoy the second inning.
Go find your parents. Go find your parents, guys. You guys need to find your parents, guys. This way. Thank you.
I haven't seen anyone. I haven't seen anyone doing the wave yet. I hope to see that tonight, okay? There we go. There we go. Excellent. Thank you. Come on, it's a baseball game, all right? Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed the first inning. Now let's go to the second inning, all right? Man, those kids have some arms on them, and I know they spend a lot of time on the practice fields getting arms like that, but soon you can too. You can get into shape, and you can get pumped up. And I know this because currently under construction here in the city of Maricopa is Arizona's first and only official outdoor fitness court at our very own Maricopa Park. This new court. So let me tell you a little bit about this court. This new court is community funded through sponsorships and the CIP and grants. Sponsors include local businesses like 911 AC, Courtney Tyler State Farm Insurance, and Ace Hardware. And it's currently being constructed by our very own Streets and Parks crews. These simple but amazing outdoor fitness courts have their roots in helping veterans and first responders, but are open to all to use and come with an accompanying free downloadable fitness app. You may also know that because Maricopa is the only city in Arizona to champion an annual citywide fitness challenge, then it stands to reason that we would take it to the next level by participating in this fitness movement sweeping the country. And it's open to anyone wanting a powerful workout. Let's take a look.
We're changing the way America thinks about fitness. With 200 fitness courts open, our campaign is growing. From college campuses to city parks and trails, we're bringing free fitness everywhere, and we're just getting started. Hi, I'm Mitch Menadget, founder of the National Fitness Campaign. National Fitness Campaign was founded in 1979 when we opened the first fitness court. Redesigned for the 21st century, the fitness court is the world's best outdoor gym. Our 7-movement, 7-minute system allows you to use your own body weight to get the perfect workout. Easy or hard, it will work for you. Our goal is to build healthy communities by making outdoor fitness an essential part of people's lives so that each day is better than the last. This year, 2,000 certified ambassadors will be trained to deliver classes, challenges, and clinics as part of our National Fitness Campaign. We'll also be hosting training camps on college campuses across America. The Fitness Court mobile app is your gateway to enroll in these programs, learn the moves, and take challenges as we dig deep to create impact for our partners across America. NFC partners and sponsors are providing $30,000 grants to 250 qualified cities and colleges in 2020. National Fitness Campaign is a social enterprise and I take no salary, so all the money we raise goes directly to building fitness courts across America. We're proud to have helped cities of all sizes raise millions of dollars from respected sponsors to support free fitness. Wherever fitness is a priority, you can find a fitness court. Building beyond 200 cities and colleges, we're now partnering with large cities using urban movement data to map the best locations for pedestrian infrastructure. We're bringing fitness courts to within 10 minutes of population centers everywhere. We're now committed to raise $150 million to bring the campaign to 1,000 cities and schools by 2021, building the largest fitness movement in the world. Join us and let's make world-class fitness free.
There's no more excuses, Maricopa. You can all join the fitness challenge this January. Congratulations. You know, speaking of movement, there's more than ever going on in our historic downtown area, or what we affectionately call the Heritage District. Since the day I moved here 15 years ago, I always wondered what it would have been like to actually witness our California Zephyr rail car being lifted up off those tracks and moved to its resting spot to become Maricopa's new official Amtrak station, ticket station. And while that concept of a giant silver metal box in the scorching Arizona sun really didn't go over all that well, nor did I get to see or witness that original placement. However, the construction of the overpass has acted like a giant catalyst for reformation and beautification within this beloved part of Maricopa's history. Thus, when the grade separation was ready for construction of the actual overpass, I and hundreds of others witnessed the required movement of that Zephyr to its new final resting place. In this second move, we saw it get lifted by 2 powerful cranes, and they, by the same cranes, by the way, were then used to lift the enormous steel girders into place over the roadway to form the base of the actual overpass. Then this massive train car was placed on a giant transportation truck, and it was moved about 1.5 miles up the road, and then gently lifted into its new permanent spot at Heritage Park. Now, I'm not sure why, but witnessing this little piece of Maricopa's new history firsthand really left a mark. And I'm pretty sure that it's something that I'm never going to forget as long as I live. But with that movement, it has started a chain reaction of loving improvements that will begin to take shape over the coming months and in the coming years in this glorious area of our city. Also in the Heritage District, we recently secured CDBG, or Community Development Block Grant funding, from the federal government to make badly needed improvements to our Heritage District's infrastructure. These improvements will provide new enhanced lighting, landscaping, sidewalks, streetscaping, park improvements, trails, and so many more things that they have been without as a founding Maricopa neighborhood. Keep your eye on this area, folks, and mark my words tonight. For in the coming years and decades, I envision that it will become one of the most beautiful and thriving areas of our city. Now, another landmark milestone achieved this year is the official groundbreaking of Maricopa's first hotel since becoming a city. Since we became a city in 2003, it will be located at the Copper Sky commercial property.
The land the new La Quinta Hotel will sit on was purchased from the city by a private developer after establishing a master plan for the entire site. While it took almost 16 years before a hotel developer could see the vision and the needs that existed here, the construction of the overpass made this opportunity just too good to pass up. And while so many people out there in Facebook world doubted we'd ever even have one hotel, I always said that the challenge was being the first, and that after the first one breaks through the proverbial glass ceiling, there would be others right behind it. Well, folks, true to form, there are at least 2 others nipping at its heels. Hotels that are seriously interested in breaking ground within the city limits. It may have taken 16 years for one hotel to come, but if all goes well, then in the next few years, we could perhaps see 3 or more. Once again, these are great examples of the hard work and tenacity that economic cultivation brings with the reaping of the fruits of the economic gardening's harvest. Hey, Adam, did you hear that?
Hear what?
That voice.
You're hearing voices?
Maybe, sure. No, you didn't hear anything?
Not a thing.
Oh, okay. Well, I could have sworn I heard a voice, but all right, thanks. As I keep thinking about this message from that random voice that I keep hearing, and for some reason none of you all can hear it, I don't know why, it seems to say to me, oh, somebody heard it. You want to come up and do this? That's great. But it seems to say to me that where more is happening, more is coming. Friends, these results have been years and years worth of closely working together. Teamwork amongst our city staff, our economic development department, our city council, our development services staff, private land developers, retailers, business owners, utilities, and so many countless others. All of this work just to prepare land and businesses to come out of the ground. Commerce that makes our lives better. And personally, with everything happening in the city, I think that with each passing day here, it just gets a little more exciting. Another area of excitement within the city is the development behind Culver's. We call it Sonoran Creek. And while those of us that have lived here for a while wondered if we would ever see anything built there, we are now on the verge of a full-fledged explosion. The entire site is being readied for a new complex, complete with a specialty grocery store, lots of new dining options, and new businesses. I don't know about you, but I can hardly wait for the opening of this new marketplace. Another new development on the east side of the 347 is called Madison Point Shopping Center. Here we hope to see a new Mexican eatery, a veterinary clinic, several other new businesses that are needed here within the city. I'm even told there might be a place that specializes in chicken. Apparently, when that little tidbit was announced, it really sent the internet a buzz, just like it did in this room here. But officially, to this point, even we haven't been told who that retailer could be. The developer is still negotiating with the proposed business, but like the rest of you, I certainly know who I am rooting for, okay? To better the odds that that might come true, I have personally spoken to this business several times to persuade them to come and follow their interest in Maricopa. And if you were wondering who that business is, well, I better give it to you in code. You see, I get into trouble when I say names that haven't been announced yet. So I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I'm not very good at this. I'm going to give you my best Scooby-Doo voice. Okay, so listen closely. All right? It rhymes, the name of this business rhymes with Rains Rickenringers. All right, I know that was bad, but you can figure it out. Okay, that's what I'm hoping for. We'll see if it happens, but we'll all find out together. Now, again, nothing is confirmed. Just saying, that's what I'm hoping for. All right, as Maricopa is a relatively new city in western Pinal County, we are very underrepresented when it comes to many necessary county services. Services only the county provides. So currently, if we need or want to utilize these services, we currently have to travel to the county seat, which is in Florence. Or they have a satellite campus with some services in Casa Grande. And while these two aren't technically that far away from us, it can be increasingly burdensome
for many of those of our residents who have to travel to these locations. So after years of pushing for Maricopa's interests at the county level, former mayor and now county supervisor Anthony Smith has persuaded the county to build a brand new county services complex in our city's Heritage District near the existing courthouse. I don't know about you, but these improvements cannot come fast enough. You see, here in Maricopa, we use what is known as a co-located court, wherein we use our elected justice of the peace for the local county district and also the city's magistrate judge for the city's court, okay? This system of judicial co-location and the cost-sharing agreement between the city and the county saves the taxpayers in our region millions of dollars by not doubling up on staff, space, buildings, resources, and judges. But there is no doubt that with our continued growth and some recent realignments of previous court district boundaries by the Board of Supervisors, our courts are literally bursting at the seams. So, these new buildings will dramatically expand the number of courtrooms, holding cells, necessary staff areas, as well as provide new areas for clients and attorneys. It will also house the necessary staff to provide all the other important services that our citizens need and deserve, but will no longer have to travel to other cities to receive. This new complex is expected to create a number of new jobs, and we will expect a formal groundbreaking sometime in November of this year. Undoubtedly, yep. Undoubtedly, these new buildings will represent a very large investment in the city and a big boon to the Heritage District's reformation. So on behalf of the city of Maricopa, many, many thanks to Supervisor Smith, the full Board of Supervisors, and of course, Pinal County for their investment in our city. Now, speaking of the county, it brings to mind the many challenges we face regarding something called the 347. Now, we're going to talk about 347 inside the city and 347 outside the city. So let's start here. We'll start with outside the city, okay? Outside of the city limits, and we all know that there are badly needed fixes to this road, right? And it's going to help provide for our continued growth. But most people think that because they haven't seen anything built on that road, that nothing is being done. Well, I can attest to you tonight that nothing could be further from the truth. And when it comes to the 347, the city of Maricopa and your city council are the biggest champions for fixing this road that we have ever been. And for well over 7 years now, we've been working on this road. We foresaw then the many problems that were coming down the pike, with all the new residents that would fall in love with this city and continue to move here. We knew then changes would have to be made, and we are making huge headway in this arena. I am proud to announce that our relationship building with our friends and neighbors, the Gila River Indian community, are paying huge dividends. And one of the biggest, most recent dividends was our mutual agreement to work together in what is called a scoping study of this critical roadway. This study will show the various transportation planning agencies that the various options that can be utilized to improve the capacity, the safety, and the interconnectivity and the commerce on this roadway. It will also show us all the do's and all the don'ts, such as how much land is available for said fixes and what will it most likely cost. That then sets us on a pathway to acquire the necessary funding to construct these fixes. This study will carry the needed recommendations that is a critical first step to fixing this road. And the good news is it will be completed by this December. I cannot stress enough how important this first step is in the process of fixing the 347. We are grateful to our partners such as the Gila River Indian Community, MAG, and ADOT in this joint endeavor. While we are making amazing strides forward, there is so much more work to do, and it's ahead for us in this fellowship in order to achieve the solutions that we all desire. Something you may or may not know is that the 347, as it passes through the city, is the sole jurisdiction of the Arizona Department of Transportation. Still not ours, still ADOT's. Because of this, it can create some real headaches when there are problems or different ideas on how to solve things along this roadway.
For some time now, myself and the city have been diligently working towards an intergovernmental agreement, or what's called an IGA, okay, within the city limits. We have been pursuing this in order to beautify and increase the efficiencies that we can do here locally, versus having to wait for a state agency like ADOT to respond from the Phoenix metro area. Waiting on them to come to Maricopa and do something that we could have done for ourselves simply saves taxpayers time, money, and also increases efficiencies in government. Let me give you an example. 2 years ago, this past August, there was a little incident along the 347 right near the entry to Rancho El Dorado. We had a truck carrying a hazardous substance overturned right in the middle of the afternoon rush hour. Any of you remember that? Okay. Within about 30 minutes, we had Maricopa Streets crews out there and had the entire thing cleaned up in a jiffy, okay? However, due to outdated processes, government jurisdictions, and legal wrangling, we then proceeded to have to wait until an environmental cleanup crew was dispatched from Phoenix to certify that the job we did was done. Are you kidding me? That's ridiculous. But for the next 8 to 10 hours, our commuters returning home from a long day's work had to experience the joy of sitting in absolute deadlock traffic until this ADOT crew arrived just to say, yeah, it looks clean. That's government at its best right there. Well, that's what we're trying to fix. Remind me someday to tell you about the terribly funny stories or phone calls I received that afternoon. Whew. I have them saved. I'm going to write a book with them someday. So immediately after this event, we used the government connections that myself and this city have been cultivating for the past 7 years at ADOT. And I scheduled a meeting with the State Transportation Board Director, the State Transportation Director, to get a few things ironed out so that unfortunate events like this will hopefully never happen again. Taking advantage of this precious FaceTime with the State Director, we figured it would be best to, use this opportunity to get a few other really important things addressed as well, right? So here's just a few of them. First off, we got them to agree to what is known as a new agreement containing a city's first right of refusal for incident cleanup and situations just like I described, okay? That's a big deal because now we don't have to wait for them to come to us. We can get this done, certify it, and move on. With this new IGA, we also now have the authority to put in nicer streetscapes and landscapes in the medians along the 347. And we can begin to add art components such as banners and other art along the roadway. With the finishing of the overpass, we persuaded ADOT to allow us to time the streetlights along the 347 all the way through the city and to add traffic control technologies to the stoplights that will allow for better traffic control efficiencies during the high directional traffic times. That's a big deal. And that will be coming this year. This agreement will allow us to add better pedestrian connectivity. And while we were there, I decided to throw in a little personal pet peeve of mine. I wasn't going to miss the opportunity. So, that little green sign along the I-10 and Queen Creek Boulevard that says Ak-Chin Community and Maricopa? Well, you've all seen it. There it is. You see, we've all seen this sign, but it's only served to confuse everyone and that they think that, well, I'm still in Maricopa County, right? Because that's where they've come from. Well, we decided that this just needed to be fixed, right? And so, has anyone ever in here wanted to see it say City of Maricopa? I know I have for the last 15 years. So guess what? We're getting a new sign. And last but not least, this IGA will include something our city councils have been working on for over a decade now, a City of Maricopa entry monument. While we are making real headway with finally achieving this new welcome structure, we still have some bugs to work out before it's ready to go to construction. But we want you to know that the beautifying of our city and distinguishing it upon entry is really important to our brand and our quality of life. One of the things that has made a potential entry monument even possible this year is the reorganization of our Capital Improvement Program, or CIP. The CIP is a list of projects that are funded based on their priority or importance and funding availability. We found and increased the city's efficiencies this year, and we included in this year's budget a reorganized list of critical projects that we just knew needed to be constructed ASAP. So we revised our CIP this year to prioritize needs based on two major things. First, public safety, and second, economic development. By doing it this way, it has increased projects which will both beautify the city and provide transportation corridor improvement that directly leads to accelerated economic development. As such, you will see lots and lots of construction this year on many of our roadways throughout Maricopa. And many of these projects are projects that our citizens have been requesting. So for example, we'll be implementing this year a new flood warning system, something that we've not only never had, but if you know Maricopa's history, it could be critical to our safety and well-being. This year, we will have a $325,000 investment in our traffic and infrastructure system, where we will be constructing a new traffic signal at the critical intersection of White and Parker and Honeycutt. On Pershing Avenue between Maricopa Casa Grande Highway and Honeycutt, in our Heritage District, we will see a $600,000 improvement on those roads, and they will be reconstructed to provide a brand new roadway and new on-street parking availability, along with sidewalks, street lighting, new landscaping, and general beautification of the area. Soon you will also see construction start to take place near and around Walmart. As you do, you will see the addition of a new roadway called Shea Way, which will be extended to Porter Road through the newly planned development for that area. This will be a roughly $700,000 roadway investment and will be built by the developer along with the rest of the project during construction. Maricopa Casa Grande Highway will be widened from Porter Road all the way to White and Parker. This is a $5.5 million project. And the best part, $5 million of that is coming from the feds. Yep. So, your city will be ponying up $500,000 coming from us. I could take all night expounding on the funding and costs and building roads and transportation roadways, why it takes so long and how it goes, but I'll spare you that this evening. Let's just say that getting 90% of the cost of construction from the feds is a big win, one we're celebrating, and we are very excited to see this construction begin. Thank you. There will also be a new traffic design, signal, and crosswalk constructed and installed in front of Copper Sky at 347 and MLK Boulevard in order to accommodate the traffic flow that will be coming due to the construction at the Copper Sky commercial project. This will be an investment of nearly $350,000 to accomplish. Also near Copper Sky, Boland Road will be upgraded and redesigned to fit our complete streets concepts and to provide the needed capacity for all of the new businesses and commerce that are coming to the commercial project there. This investment in our city will be approximately $685,000. As I mentioned earlier, negotiating the IGA with ADOT and the recent overpass construction, and in coordination with our partners like Maricopa Unified School District, Orbitel Communications, ADOT, and the city, we have been laying fiber optic networks in the roadway to help provide the needed technology to move us forward in our Smart Cities initiative. Yet by doing this, we will be simultaneously providing for a better quality of life for our drivers and commuters as they traverse our roadways. In short, these technological additions will allow for better timing of our lights up and down the 347 this year, as well as connecting roadways throughout the city, Over the next several years, we will be investing over $1.2 million in making your driving life through our city easier. Also in the next few years, we will be constructing several low-water crossings, which should allow for all-weather vehicle passage in places like the Rancho El Dorado Loop, right? Been a while, you see those closed? We don't like that? Okay, so we'll see a low-water crossing there. We'll also see two others installed, one at Porter and Farrell and one at Honeycutt and Farrell, Hartman and Farrell. Coupled with these additional pavings and roadway constructions, these avenues will become important thoroughfares and significant traffic relievers. You know, there is so much more on the horizon and so many more road and infrastructure projects I could share with you this evening, but I just wanted to give you a little taste of what is coming. So be patient while it's under construction, knowing that when it's finished, your life and your driving experiences will be much faster, safer, and less stressful than existed previously. Now, even though it's still part of the CIP plan, it's also an announcement that stands all on its own. As we scrutinized the capital improvement program, we found that many funds were being held in reserve for projects that were years away from possible completion. But due to our reshuffling of priorities and our intense scrutiny to find savings, we wanted to use these funds judiciously, as well as use them where they would have the most impact. So by utilizing these efficiencies and funding from state-authorized development impact fees, or DIF, we found the necessary funding to construct a desperately needed, brand new, 27,000 square foot Maricopa library. You know, this new expansive, much improved library will have larger meeting spaces, mobile computers, study areas, tons of new shelving for books, a greater focus on technology, performance areas, and the list goes on and on. If the timeline holds, we anticipate construction to begin in late January or early February of this coming year, 2020, with a 10-month build time and completion date near the end of 2020. This is a really exciting accomplishment when you stop to realize that just a few years earlier, we thought we would have to wait for the 2008 bond repayments to be further along and begin that process of making this, before we could make this process a needed community project an actual reality. This is a big deal, and it will be located right here behind us, or right to the south of us here. So you'll see more and more start coming to this area. Where is that coming from? It's killing me. Well, everyone, you've reached the bottom of the second inning. Are you ready to start the third and find out even more about what's going on in Maricopa? Okay.
Wait.
What?
Who are you again?
I am the popcorn guy.
Oh, yes. The infamous ballpark vendor.
Popcorn! 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 Anybody want popcorn? Popcorn! We got popcorn! There you go, sir. Thank you. We got more! Popcorn! No. Popcorn! Popcorn! There you go, man. There's some for you. All right. Okay. Hot dogs, Copa hot dogs. What kind of kids eat Copa hot dogs? Fat kids, skinny kids, kids that climb on rocks, mean kids, sissy kids, even kids with chicken pox. All right. That reminds me of another song. All right. Hang on one second, Miss Organist. Here we go. Oh, I wish I were an Oscar Mayer. No! This is a family show. Hot dog. All right, here we go. Let's try it again. Oh, I wish I were an Oscar Mayer hot dog. There you go. For that is what I truly like to be. For if I were an Oscar Mayer hot dog, everyone would be in love with me. Okay, hang on. All right. Oh, I wish I were a Maricopa fireman. Nah. Okay. Oh, I wish I were the Maricopa mayor. For that is what I truly love to be. 'Cause if I was the Maricopa mayor, everyone would be in love with me. There you go. Oh, sorry. There you go. Hot dogs. Here you go. Oh, Pat, got these two. There you go. Hey, one back here. One for my wife. There you go. Goodbye, everybody.
Hey, let's go fishing again.
Vendors. You know, funny thing is we pay them to sing that. I don't know why, but we do. And personally, I wouldn't eat anything that questionable vendor just gave you. I'm just letting you know right now, okay? I don't think we posted signs, but eat at your own risk. All right, so I know it's the top of the third inning, okay? There's still so much more to tell you, so let's get going. So we just talked about a beautiful new spacious library, and that begs the next logical question. Well, what will happen to the old one, right? I'm glad you asked. You see, the idea here is to help find usable space for internal or integral organizations that reside within our community. The plan will be to start with the old library. You know, this building that we currently call the Veterans Center. This is kind of, just so you can follow along here, this is kind of like going back in your family history, and this is your great-great-grandfather or your great-great-great-grandfather, right? So we're going to talk about this as the old library. Okay, now you with me? Good. So the old library soon will begin working with the Maricopa Historical Society and we will begin working with them to moderately remodel it so that their new location can be adjacent to the historical Zephyr train that they now own. Coupled with a newly landscaped and fully repurposed Heritage Park, for the first time in Maricopa's history, there will be a dedicated space for the showcasing of Maricopa's rich history for all to come and see. Let's not forget that the Heritage District will once again benefit from all of this beautification and improvement. Then we will repurpose and remodel the current library, right? So now it's the old library, all right? The current library to have 3 new uses. Use 1, it will consist of a space to house a Maricopa Senior Center. You know, for many years, our senior citizens have been asking for a place to call their own, where they can congregate, play games, and socialize. So 1/3 of this facility will be available for use by them. Use 2, the second third of the location will be available to our veteran community and their various advocacy branches. You know, this new and improved space will help them provide the necessary services, socialization, and camaraderie that accompany those who have served our nation. Use 3, the final third, will be used as a much-needed meeting space for our community to gather. Whether it be citizens needing space to support the arts, or people combining the classes of higher learning, or even an assembly space for service-oriented organizations, this new space will do all of these and more with the flexibility and creativeness that Maricopa has become known for. You know, you've heard me say it a million times, and that is, if you want amazing economic development possibilities, then you have to have phenomenal transportation corridors. This has never been more true than after the announcement that construction would begin on the 347 overpass, directly linking our northern and our southern portions of the city without an impediment of a rail that separates us. Suddenly, land in the southern portion of our city went from being a pariah to suddenly highly desirable. Literally overnight. And with that desirability comes developers that want to make use of this building roadways to success concept. With these new roadways, developers have seen the light for opportunistic success by bringing things to Maricopa that have never existed before, by working jointly with developer Shea Connolly in a master plan format, the Copper Sky commercial property, which is currently dirt,
Within the next 3 years, it is going to transform into a mixed-use complex with new restaurants, senior living, and memory care facilities, Maricopa's first parking garages, state-of-the-art apartments, and all new retail and shopping establishments with a featured walkability factor that ties the development together. This 4-phase plan will represent a $170 million investment in Maricopa's future, and that's just for this one development. All our new developments, this one is perhaps the one that I am most excited for, mostly because it will add a new diversity of uses to our city. And it will have a total annual economic impact of over $221 million in its first 10 years of operations here in this city. We also anticipate that this project will bring in over 271 new jobs. That's awesome. So last year, I told you about how relationships matter, especially when working to find visionary developers that want to partner with us on creating new buildings and business prospects our citizens would like to see come out of the ground, okay? I told you that economic development is not easy and that it can actually be really hard. I told you that a project can progress all the way till the building goes vertical, and then at the drop of a hat, the whole thing can fall apart and you have to start all over again. Well, guess what, folks? This past year, we had that very thing happen with the developer that we were working with for the Estrella Business Park. We could not reach legal agreement that was beneficial for both sides. So we went back to the drawing board. But remember, you've heard me say it a million times before, relationships matter. This time, a local commercial developer found out about the availability of the site, and he then used his connections to inform an off-site developer of the project that he thought they might be interested in using the land. He then approached one of our council members, who in turn put them in contact with the appropriate city staff, so we could begin new discussions with all of the stakeholders on how we could get this project moving and assist with the rapid business growth here in our city. I'm happy to report to you today that we have signed the agreements with this new developer, their commercial brokerage and financing arms, and ultimately the construction company as well. It's exciting to know that they are actively marketing this new business park and looking for new interested parties to locate there. This new business-friendly location will have available components of light industrial, office space, flex space, shared office spaces, and it will provide for medical and professional uses, call centers, and so much more. It will have spaces for those who are new businesses looking to open for the very first time. Or if you're an expanding local business who happens to be looking for an alternative space, maybe having retail or a showroom in the front and warehouse or storage in the back, then this will be the place for you. Napa Auto Parts and ED3 are both constructing new locations on this site, and we are very excited for this new business product to hit the local marketplace. You know, as you know, several businesses this year were displaced by the overpass construction. And one of those ensuing casualties was of this major road improvement was our very own fire administration staff. So in July of this year, we broke ground on a new fire administration building. The good news is, that because of its untimely displacement, ADOT is helping to pay almost 60% of the relocation costs. That's $4 million of the total cost of the new facility, saving our local taxpayers millions. Watch for a completion date of this new station in the middle of next year, 2020. Another update I wanted to give you tonight was that of the challenges the floodplain presents in Maricopa. You know, we have spent many years working to overcome and fix these challenges, and the reason is that the designation of a floodplain, it holds miles and miles of prime developable land in and around Maricopa hostage. Because the floodplain is managed both at the local and county and federal levels, specifically the U.S. Corps of Engineers,
Working out these issues in a timely manner can be a daunting and downright aggravating task. While we are making huge headway with the U.S. Corps of Engineers, studying and designating the official project area, we ultimately have to get funding for construction through the United States Congress. And yes, that is going to be as difficult as it sounds. Okay? This is tough. We also know that possible construction to rectify the problems are still several years away. So what we have tried to do is to get creative in how we can solve these challenges as a larger collective whole, as well as in small developmental pieces. For example, recently the City Council allocated Community Development Block Grants, or CDBG funds, from the federal government to be spent in the Heritage District, and therefore remove a large portion of it from the floodplain. This should be complete and federally authorized this coming year. This is really important because by removing an area from the floodplain, it immediately helps the citizens of that area with the possibility of development, improvement, and revitalization. It also allows our citizens to save money on mandatory flood insurance and once again makes it a choice for the consumer. At the same time, we are running a multifaceted approach to fixing the rest of Maricopa by removing it from the floodplain. By working simultaneously with the U.S. Corps of Engineers for large-scale fixes and concurrently working on a separate, locally created plan, along with the various stakeholders, the city and the developers will be able to blend it with the U.S. Corps of Engineers plan. That way, together, we can significantly speed up the process and get Maricopa homes and businesses out of harm's way and protect all of our livelihoods and quality of life. You having fun yet? Well, get ready to, because we've just reached the bottom of the third.
And that, of course, means it's time for the third inning stretch. Go ahead and stand up and get ready to sing along to Take Me Out to the Ball Game. Great job, everybody. Get ready for Mayor Price to close this game out.
Now, I'm pretty sure that when you were getting ready to come here tonight, you never thought you'd be singing at a political speech, did you? Yeah? I know I'm right and you know I'm right. All right. But there is a first time for everything. So, we've covered a lot of ground tonight, and honestly, we have barely begun to scratch the surface of everything that's happening in this city. There's so much more to tell you about in the coming months that this is just the tip of the iceberg. But let me share a little more vision with you about what's on the horizon for our incredible city. So, we fully comprehend that in the years coming, that more businesses and industry will desire to locate their operations to the city of Maricopa. With its highly educated workforce and expansive raw land, they will literally be able to create from scratch their new business vision. In order to help facilitate a faster engagement of the business community, we are doing our best to lay the groundwork in preparation for a large 500-acre business and industrial park. This will come complete with a commercial rail spur and help incentivize to make our location stand apart in the business world and in the greater Phoenix metro region. As an attractive, shovel-ready site, it will be sought after by site selectors and investing businesses alike. As we continue to move forward and ready this site, I will keep you apprised of its progress, and we are hopeful that it will be transformational for Maricopa. Now, while not potentially located on this 500-acre site, one of the businesses we have diligently been pursuing for some years now in our attempts to persuade them to locate to Maricopa is that of a hospital. You know, the hospitals of today are not like they once were.
for a lot of reasons. But the fact of the matter is that they lack the federal incentives that they once had to build and construct new infrastructure, especially in rural areas. These previous incentives made them more palatable in risking financial exposure to any given new area, especially an unknown area, one that was untested and untried before. However, those days are gone, and these hospital providers are still carefully building, and they're looking for what they deem as the right market, the right population, the right location site, and the right opportunity. But the problem is they can be pretty few and far between. So for the past 7 years or so, myself and the city council and our staff have all been calling on hospital providers in order to keep us on their radar for a possible new Maricopa location. While there is no official announcement tonight about the decision of a hospital to move to the area yet, I am, however, pleased to provide you with this update that we are making really strong progress with specifically one of our hospital providers. We are making progress with their state corporations as well as their national corporation when it comes to the evaluation of the Maricopa market and a possible eventual location here. Furthermore, we receive daily phone calls from businesses in the medical profession who are looking to expand to Maricopa. Seeing the business need here, they ask us daily about a potential hospital, and they share with us their desire to be located nearby. This has prompted us to highly encourage these hospital providers even more to buy and build more than just a hospital, but an entire hospital campus, thus providing a medical one-stop shop for our citizens. Of course, we are still very early in the development game, but we are providing ongoing, real-time feedback on what is happening here in the Maricopa market. This up-to-date information on growth and the medical profession interest is inspiring them to move more expeditiously on a possible location approval. I will keep you updated as they continue progressing through their stringent corporate decision-making process, but we are making headway. Now, if you have your programs, would you turn with me to page 4 of your programs? And if you don't, that's okay. We'll put it on the screen behind you here. Here, you'll see some of our stats over the last few years regarding our new annual housing permits. These numbers continue to skyrocket, and this trend continues to rise even in 2019, with a record-breaking month this past July when we had 148 new single-family home permits. This place is exploding. You know, as a clarifier, most of you know that the city issues building permits based on really 2 requirements, 2 things: the zoning regulations that you, the voters, approved, and protecting the public safety. That's it. Residential and commercial growth happens because a landowner feels as though they can make money from a development, so they take the risk. Whereas a resident can find an exceptional quality of life from these new developments, and thus they assign a value to the area accordingly. Thus, both are edified and enriched by the arrangement, one by developing and one by locating to the area. You know, with Maricopa's increasing population and commercial enterprises, the need for our little post office to change is also upon us. You know, to see growth in our post office and get funding from the federal government to build something new is a process that's going to take time. But it's for this reason that earlier this year I reached out to the Postmaster General and the district representatives from this area and began the process of working towards a new, larger post office. We agreed to accomplish 3 steps together in our meetings. First, to get blue post office boxes placed around the city where people can just drop things off and thus relieve the traffic in the actual office. Number 2, to get funding for a satellite office that could spread the geographical location and services to another part of the city. That is 2 coming. And number 3, to ultimately get a new, larger post office built in the city to handle our growing demand. And while I started this a few months ago, I just heard back this past Sunday from the district manager that he is working on all of these, and he wanted to inform me that we're making really good progress through the system. Now, if you were listening closely, perhaps you're thinking, wait a minute, how did he hear about that on a Sunday? Well, it just so happens that one of my contacts in the district manager's office is a friend of mine from high school who has willingly agreed to be a constant and pressure-providing advocate for us to help us get what we need here in the city of Maricopa. Remember what I always say? Relationships matter.
Hold on. Is all this actually realistic?
Well, of course it is, Adam. I mean, just look at all the information and the growth we just talked about. There's even more on the way.
How can we do more? We've already done so much in the last year. Can we really keep this up? Will people actually come, or is it just a dream?
Well, you know, we've come this far, and we've put so much work into it, but you have a point. I wonder if when all is said and done, if people will actually come.
Mayor, people will come. They'll come to Maricopa for reasons they can't even fathom. They'll turn into this city not knowing for sure why they're doing it. They'll arrive at your city's door as innocent as children, longing for the past. Of course, we won't mind if you look around, you'll say. Its only cost is the establishment of a family home or the building of a new business. And they'll settle here without even thinking about it, for it's money they have and peace they lack. And they'll walk off to the bleachers and sit in their short sleeves on a perfect afternoon. And they'll find they have reserved seats somewhere along the baselines where they sat when they were children, and they'll cheer their heroes. And they'll watch the game, and it will be as if they dipped themselves in magic waters. The memories will be so thick that they'll have to brush them away with their faces. People will come, Mayor. The one constant through the years, Mayor, has been this city. America has rolled by like an army of steamrollers. It's been erased like a blackboard, rebuilt and erased again. But the game of baseball and the building of America's cities has marked the passing of time. This city, this field, this game is part of our past, and it will be part of our future, Mayor. It will remind us of all that once was good and that it could be again. Oh, people will come, Mayor. People will most definitely come. I'm supposed to do this. You're supposed to pull me back. Yeah, pull me back here.
You know, he's right. There will always be people that doubt. But here in the city of Maricopa, we know he's right. I know it to be true, and so do you. Every day, I meet newly arriving residents who have come from all over the country and even the world, and they've come fleeing the weather, looking for new professions, seeking the warm sunshine on their faces, bearing witness to the most beautiful sunsets in the world, and actively searching for a better life. I asked them, what brought you here? Why Maricopa of all places? And almost all of them tell me the exact same thing. After we visited Maricopa, we just fell in love with the people, the area, and especially the city. I don't know if I can put my finger on it, but we just love it here, and we're never leaving. After personally witnessing this firsthand, I have come to believe that many of our friends and acquaintances will soon begin to turn to each of us and say pensively, "It's so beautiful here." Well, to me anyways, it's like a dream come true. And then after a long moment of thought, you know, that moment where you stay and you linger just a little longer to fully consider the depth of their statement. And while you are contemplating it, they will then ask you one more question. Is this heaven? To which you will answer with a smile on your face, no, it's Maricopa. And thoughtfully, they will answer back, I could have sworn it was heaven, because this is the place where dreams come true. Thank you. We hope you had fun tonight. We hope you enjoyed our baseball field. We have baseballs for you on the way out. Thank you for being here. We'll see you again next year.